When Vanessa and I were talking about today's service, she posed the question, when have you dared to hope, believing in the possibility when others may have questions? I thought, easy peasy. That's my life every day at Faithful Fools. Faithful Fools being a ministry that is based in the Tenderloin and began in a little back office here in the church 28 years ago. Daring to hope has been my life for the last 42 years. As I worked in Chicago, often with young folks who had been drawn into gangs, or when I lived in Nicaragua with people whose lives had been ravaged by the Contra War, and where at the time that I was there, 70% of the people were considered living in extreme poverty. I Googled hope. This is what Google said. Hope is an optimistic state of mind based on the expectation of positive outcomes, combining a desire for something with the belief that it is attainable. It acts as a powerful, often spiritual motivator and an emotional anchor during difficult times, distinct from mere wishing due to its element of anticipation and confidence. That pretty much says it. I don't give up or give in easily, as what do I know that another is capable of, even if I am skeptical. Then Vanessa also said, or you could write about when you have felt cynical and that cynicism was upended. Cynical is not a word that I've ever used to describe myself. I wrote down the optional question, but brushed it off at first pass. I'm not cynical. If I were cynical, I would not do the work that I do. In fact, I had just written a card to my mom that morning that said, giving up hope isn't an option. But then I decided to Google cynicism too. And it said, cynicism is a distrust of the motives of others, of people motivated by self-interest, distrustful of human sincerity or integrity. Well, I guess with that definition, I cannot claim innocence in not being cynical, especially in these current times. When I came to the Bay Area from Nicaragua in 1997, it seemed every news headline was about individuals and whole families becoming unhoused as high rents and 1% vacancy rates were rapidly displacing people. I saw long lines of people waiting to get a meal and more long lines waiting to sign up for shelter or subsidized housing. And with each passing day, the lines were getting longer. I'd walk up and down the hill from this church with Kay Jorgensen, who was the social justice minister of this congregation, as she discerned how she and this community could be engaged. And I remember saying to her one day, well, I just came from a country where the majority of people lived in poverty for decades, while the wealth was concentrated in the hands of 2% of the population. Governments governing with the interests of the common good was not the general practice, nor the intention. I guess looking back, I could say my thoughts had some cynicism in it, as I saw the downward spiral of more and more people becoming impoverished in this country, and I didn't see hopeful signs of turning that ship around very soon. As I sat with these dictionary definitions of hope and cynicism, I began to see or even admit that there is a relationship for me between the hope that compels and anchors me end our work as faithful fools, as we accompany people through the maze of personal and social complexities and the failing systems gutted by corporate greed. End the underlying cynicism then and now, especially in relationship to our local and national leaders. I don't want to be in denial of my cynicism, nor apologetic of my hopefulness that we can make a difference in the lives of people and communities by being relentless advocates and move every day with a kind of holy perseverance and unswerving feet. The real emotional and practical anchor for me is to not stop believing that things can be different. I do believe a healthy dose of cynicism is necessary to clarify the work that is mine and ours to do, and to not give up hope. Maybe I can even hope that my cynicism will be upended.